And we're back again. AgentX show, second segment. We're here today to talk about AI and Web3 gaming, the two hottest narratives in Web3 at the moment. Everyone's talking about either AI or about gaming. And today we're going to talk about the impact that AI is having on gaming in the first place. But we want to start off with little intros. Crypto Hunters, very awesome to have you here. Unmute yourself and give yourself a little intro. Tell the people who are you, what do you do, and let's go on.
Sure. Thank you so much. My name is Sylvia. I'm the CMO of Crypto Hunters. Crypto Hunters is an ecosystem which has two main products. The first one, it's Crypto Hunters AR game, which is an AR game that also has digital twins technology implemented. We recently launched our token, and also our other project is a reality TV that is a treasure hunt that will be launching at the end of this year.
Super awesome to have you here. It's a pleasure. I'm interested to see what kind of insights you can give us. Rivals Network.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? I'm RB from Rivals Network. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at Rivals Network. We're essentially building an AI intel layer, and what that means is that we leverage data provenance and create data storage around data storage for AI applications, AI systems. What that means is that with the advent of AI applications, AI agents, AI companions, AI NPCs, a lot of compliant regulated data is needed, and we provided a data source for that data. You can sort of think of us as the Filecoin for AI use cases, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Sounds promising, interesting, super cool. Chas Stanton, give yourself a nice intro.
Hey guys. DM, hello everybody. So yes, Chas Stanton. I am from Animoca brand subsidiary Forge. We're also the owners of Ape Accelerator. So we've worked with a number of AAA game titles in our time. Most notably recently Space Nation, but also Pixels as well. Those of you who know Pixels, we were working with the team from early 2023, and we were very involved in essentially strategic advisory and helped a lot with their the game development. So lots and lots to talk about. Obviously, hugely invested in the future of Web3 gaming and actually how AI is a big part of that as well. So looking forward to this one.
Super, it was a pleasure to have you here. Rami Maroon.
Hello everyone, my name is Rami. I'm the Cloud Integration Manager of XP.NETWORK. XP.NETWORK is a multi-chain NFT bridge. We currently support 30 blockchains, EVM and non-EVM. And happy to connect, happy to meet new people, and thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Fardat Zand.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Fardat. I'm a CEO, co-founder of Wisdomize, a Web3 investment platform that is powered by advanced AI and ML model. We also kind of help our business partners building kind of generative and predictive AI model that can be embedded inside their games, whether it's the multi-agent games or kind of rather gamification within their kind of application. Happy to be here and thanks for your invitation.
Super awesome. It's a pleasure. Then we come with our last speaker, Stoic.
Last but not least, thanks for organizing this, and it's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Marco from the ecosystem team of Oasis. And for those that don't know, Oasis is a privacy-focused L1 where we have built a confidential EVM that's actually in production. We have gaming projects on there like Polychain Monsters. We have AI projects on there like Predictor from Ocean Protocol. And the intersection is obviously just super relevant for us, but also for me personally, since I don't want to say I was addicted, but I was a very avid gamer. So I'm just looking forward to finding a Web3 game that's also going to make me skip dinner to chill with some online friends that I've never met, like in the good old days.
Super, great. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing about gaming overall, right? I think why everyone loves gaming is obviously it's fun, but second thing is connecting with people all around the world. All these stories where people have like this big friends group. They never met them ever, but an online friend group where they played Call of Duty, etc., and then they meet up later. It's awesome. So today we're going to talk about Web3 gaming and the impact of AI. We are AgentX. We build AI solutions for Web3 projects to simplify the whole experience. Not going to talk too much about that now, but obviously AI is here to simplify everything. It lowers the entry barrier to starting a business, building a business, but even in starting games, building games, or playing the games. And now that brings me to my first question. In what ways can AI enhance the player experience and game development in the Web3 gaming ecosystem? Just put your hand up and I will give you the mic, but this is the question that we want to kick off with. Rivals.
Yeah.
Give it to us.
Yeah, so one of the cool ways that we discovered that the AI can be used in a really cool way for gaming is AI NPCs and AI companions. So what that means is that having NPCs be more dynamic in terms of how they respond to you based on your decisions. In the gaming scene, NPCs are probably the most underdeveloped part of games where they're just very bland. We see this in open world games like GTA or, any other game that involve NPCs. They don't really have a backstory or a sort of, a human feel to them, right? And that's where AI NPCs, I feel, are going to be a big thing. With regards to like Rivals, what that can be is that, users can provide their personal data to Rivals in a sort of encrypted, anonymized fashion, right? And that data can be used by AI systems and AI applications to build their AI companions, AI NPCs on. So you're leveraging essentially real data, and you're creating NPCs which actually have a sort of a story, a sort of human feel to them that can interact with players in game. And I feel like that will definitely be a really big factor in making games more lifelike, making virtual reality experiences in games also more lifelike and more in touch with your decision making in the actual games. And these NPCs will, if they're based around personal, like real world data, what that makes it is that you're not really generating data, and you're not generating data would create sort of randomized NPCs, which will still feel a bit off. But if you're using real world data and real personal data, high value personal data, then that would actually create NPCs which actually feel real, right?
Yeah, super interesting. We talked about this in the last segment too, and somebody said they will be so different from the NPCs that we know now that we even have to give them a different name, APCs, artificial playable characters. I really liked it. I'm interested to see what kind of impact that's going to have. Crypto Hunters, I see that you have your hand up. Give us something.
Yeah, so basically I just wanted to add to what Rivals said. The importance of making the experience personalized, it's what AI is bringing to the user. At the end of the day, the user wants the game to understand who they are and how they can adapt to themselves to create community. So I think that's one of the most important things that AI is bringing, and that is crucial, which is that personalizing experience to the user, and also that it can immediately analyzes the behavior and its presence. For us, for example, in Crypto Hunters, we use AI for it, and also through the digital twins technology that we actually can someone walk in Paris or in any other city without being there, which is a personalized experience. So just wanted to add that.
I love that, making gaming more personalized by AI. It's also going to make it more addictive. I'm not sure if you guys like it when I say that, but I definitely feel like that AI is going to make the gamer experience so great that it's going to be very hard for people to not touch the console. Like obviously we had games developed from a Pokemon little games with the pixels on it that you could play for like 10, 20 minutes and then you didn't want to touch it again. And over time, the whole experience becomes better and better and better. And then even with the conversation about turning NPCs into APCs by powering them with AI, what you will get is the whole gaming experience is going to become so real, even with VRs coming up. I am very interested to see what kind of impact that's going to have on humans' mental health in the first place. What do you guys think? I think it's an interesting road to go on to talk about this stuff. Any hands?
When you talk about what impact will have in I guess you meant mental health or mental behavior of the user, what did you mean exactly? Just to clarify.
Yeah, well, I'm just philosophizing here, right? And I think spaces are to philosophize in the first place. But when you start implementing these, you make the user experience so great because of AI. So let's say an NPC becomes an APC and you drive it with AI and it becomes a real person. The NPC will be able to even speak back to you. Like that's how good AI is going to become after a while. But also the whole experience is going to become so real. How are we going to stop people from getting even more addictive than they are now to games?
I think I'll take the mic in here. I think this is something that Chas wants to talk, so maybe he can go first.
Oh no!
Chess.
I don't want to steal the mic unless you're happy for me to. Look, yeah, absolutely. So for me, it raises a really interesting point, and I think it's in the interest of game developers to allow a certain containment of an NPC character, right? Because what you don't want is a situation where you get into almost a whole, Second Life, other world kind of scenario whereby you could just, NPC could run off into the sunset and do all sorts of crazy stuff, and the possibilities are endless. And obviously, you have whole new dialogues and whole new sort of areas to unlock in terms of gameplay. But I think as humans, it's a bit like, and this is going to sound like a really clumsy analogy, but bear with me. If you've ever gone into like a sandwich shop and you just have a menu on a chalkboard somewhere, it's just absolutely crammed with different ingredients, different bread, and you're just like, I just don't know what to do with this information. There's just too much to do. Just tell me what I want to eat, and I'll probably take that as usually you pick one off the set menu because it's just so much easier than trying to piece together your own sandwich. Now, maybe that's just me, but if you apply that context to gaming, you're in a situation where, if you have this limitless amount of possibilities with an NPC, it becomes a bit overwhelming, actually. And I'd say that, in fact, your gaming experience will be lessened because of it, because you're just constantly barraged with different options and opportunities. And actually, to some extent, you want a containment of opportunity, right, within an NPC AI character, and the ability to for example, get to a specific end point, but for that point to be variable based on certain interactions with that NPC. Does that make sense? So, for example, I want to interact with this character, and this character is going to take me to, like a warehouse or something. But the way I get to that warehouse, that can change in many different ways. But ultimately, that's where I'm going to end up. And I think we have to make sure that we kind of, don't offer people too much in the way of choice, because actually that then I think undermines the kind of the ethos of the game, which is that it's more enjoyable because you can make it your own, but it's still ultimately, you're playing a game that's being designed for you as opposed to by you.
Super interesting point of view. Didn't even think about it that way. Instead of you give people so many options that playing the game becomes harder, or the experience becomes, you struggle with the experience. Very interesting point of view.
Exactly.
Stoic, hands up.
Yeah, just
Tell me.
want to respond to Chaz because it's a very cool point. But I think there is and should be a space for both. You will have players that are fanatics about this super open and flexible world where nothing is determined. And non-determinism on chain is just, fun. It's something that we all struggle with because it's difficult to do. for example, I don't know who remembers the old Fable game where you could choose, do you become good or bad, and the story changes dependent on your actions. And imagine this with NPCs or APCs that kind of adapt as well, and they completely change the flow of the game. So I think there will be both. I'm just struggling to see how you want to do limited AIs if you don't develop the models. And I think it's something in general that we can talk about, how to avoid this black box of all the popular AI models where we don't really know what it was trained on, and we don't really know how the inference works. Of course, we can test it for the most common scenarios, but I'm not sure how to implement this stopper for something that is a deal breaker.
Interesting question. Who wants to go into that? Somebody unmuted?
Yeah, so I was just going to respond to the response. So yeah, I completely agree. I think where a game is designed to be essentially an open environment, and that's a great example you gave. You walk into the environment and you're being, it's a bit like with GTA. You could argue that's more of a game that's designed for you to, there's obviously missions, but you can also create your own experiences, and that will be even more so in the future. And I think if you're going into that game knowing that that's the objective, like you design your own experience, then that's probably a bit different. I guess in terms of how we train AI to be more limiting, if that makes sense, I think it all depends on, like I say, the end point. If you imagine a model and the model knows that it has to get you from point A to point B, then the way in which it does it, in a way, it doesn't matter almost how limiting or unlimited the sort of rules engineers. You are, that end point is going to be the final destination, and it's up to the AI to get you there. And I think that's perfectly acceptable. The point is that you need to have that end destination because, if you think about why we play games, and I guess, maybe it's different for different people. There's different games. I completely appreciate that. But ultimately you want to lose yourself in a story, a story or world that's been weaved for you. And again, there are games where you create your own story, of course, but the vast majority of them are games where there is a story that you're part of, and you want to lose yourself in that story. It's hardest to do that if you're always having to, direct your own story. There's so much more in the way of thinking you need to do. And for me, I find that less enjoyable, but that's maybe just my view.
Stoic, do you want to go in on that?
No, I think that's a very satisfying answer. And I think the conclusion is, hey, there will be space for both, and someone will build both.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. What breakthroughs in AI technology do you guys believe is necessary to go to the next level in Web3 gaming? Or maybe let's start off with a different question. I would first want to know, for example, Satoshi Universe. How are you planning to integrate AI in the games or projects that you're working with or on?
So yeah, first of all, thanks for inviting us, guys. Happy to be here. And if you check our project, you'll see that we have a few games. And for the first one, for the city builder, I think the main thing connected to AI could be like, I don't know, some guides, some characters inside the game who could guide you, and not only, this kind of stuff where you just using the script and that's all you could learn from the game, but also it could be interesting to, maybe integrate something like ChatGPT when the player answering the question of how to build the building, how to place the skin, how to buy the resources, and then the bot just answering depending on the question, depending on the situation, depending on the level of infrastructure inside the game. So it will be everything. And I think that the perfect thing to integrate AI is to make it like as a helper for the user, because I think as a player they don't want to read this kind of huge guides with 50 papers and you're like, damn, I don't want to spend my time. It's going to be easier to chat inside the game with the AI and receive the best answers that you could get from the, let's say, support or from the guide. So it could be super interesting to integrate this kind of stuff inside the game. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Yep, super interesting. Making the experience easier. and again, lowering the entry barrier. What about you guys at Rivals Network? What are you guys planning, or what are you already using AI for in your project?
So currently we're going to be launching our incentivized testnet basically next week. And we'll also have our upcoming node sale as well. So the plan is to have AI NPCs, AI companions, they're, ready closer to end of this year, we're Q4 of this year. And AI NPCs are not that easy to build. NPCs are already hard enough when they don't even have anything much going on. And AI NPCs are the next upgrade to that. So we are gonna get there pretty soon. But it is definitely gonna take some time. On the side of AI companions as well, I think that's also a really big space that is gonna be quite big, where streamers are gonna be making money without even while they're sleeping. They're gonna create companions and the personas around their identities, and those identities will be streaming and playing games and doing all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the plan is to have AI NPCs and AI companions pretty soon through Rivals Network, probably in Q4 of this year.
Cool. I would want to get into the streaming AI streaming thing that you mentioned. There was this one of the biggest Dutch YouTubers, not Dutch language, but originally from Holland. And he tried this. He's one of the first ever, I think maybe even one of the first in the world that tried this, replacing himself completely with an AI model of himself. And it failed drastically, like it was horrible to see. His fans hated it. Is AI already far enough to do such thing? Because people like to watch humans, right? They like to see human emotion, and they like to see the unpredictability of a human. That's what keeps it engaging, not knowing what's going to happen in the next second. Are you guys keeping this in mind, or are you just trying stuff out?
I mean, we're already seeing some successful examples of companions and I guess quote unquote streamers. We're seeing these AI models come about on Instagram, where there's generated AI models, and people are making money from these models, posting their pictures, posting generated AI videos on them. So it is going to take some time from going from there to actual streaming, because streaming is it's live. You can't do any edits or do any more other prompts while the streaming is happening. So it will take some time, but we are seeing some really good progress there. We're also seeing progress where people are they are streaming themselves, but they have like an AI character on top of them. So like a guy streaming as a girl, right? That's also starting to happen. So we are slowly getting there, and it is sort of it is. If we go directly to just having a streamer of AI generated, that is going to be a big step from where we currently are. But we are slowly getting there, and it's also sort of scary as well, looking into this kind of thing where the next stage of content might just be fully AI generated instead of actual people generating it, right?
And this is bothering me as a content creator myself, or not specifically bothering, but I don't know where it ends. And I'm interested to see what you guys think about the following thing. What we've seen with competition all around the world in business, for example. People that didn't speak English can now compete with people that speak English because of ChatGPT, etc., etc. So the whole entry barrier lowered, and it's still lowering with the second, if not with a millisecond. And now the content creation part is where it gets really scary, because we live in an attention economy, I would like to say. So if you own attention, you own power. Like everything is done with attention. People spend their valuable time on watching streams or YouTube videos or Instagram, etc., etc. But the content creation is, like you said, we're entering a phase where maybe all content creation is becoming AI or powered by AI. Now, who's going to stand out if everyone is able to create tons of videos?
I mean, the answer to that question would just be the same as what the answer was when YouTube came out. So when YouTube came out, it was like, oh, now everybody can create content, right? So, what's going to happen? And because before we had TV, right? So TV was very saturated with like programs or like specific people, who were around it. But then with YouTube, it was like everybody's on it now. So with this, we'll just see, yeah, okay, it's like sort of like YouTube or like Twitch and whatever, but now it's at a much bigger scale. But I think it'll still have the same similarities in terms of like who gets on top, where everybody's going to be generating a lot of content, but the content that's the most quality and has the most quality and is the most informative is probably going to come out on top, the same way we've seen with YouTube, right?
I would like to
Interesting one.
I would like to add what you just said, something that it's very important. You said that the content that will stay on top is the one that it's more informative or it has better quality. But it goes down to, and this is something that I usually that I recently discussed, it comes down to the behavior or the user and what it creates from its human basis. Because you can ask AI and you can generate things with AI, but in order to get that, someone needs to start to do it. So for example, I'm going to give an example of this. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of tweets that use words like uncovered. And now you see similarities because they are done by AI. And you can and users can immediately notice, and it's starting to show what it's actually being done generally by someone and what has the AI tools. So it's not a matter if it's best or it will take the market. It's how you use the tool to make your content better, or how you use the like AI's technology to enhance your work. But at the end of the day, I think the success of content, the success of how you reach people lies in the human experience and the human touch of what you create, because that is something that you cannot replace with AI, in my opinion.
Yep, that human uniqueness. 100% agreed. And also about the words, the diving into the realm of, and all the ChatGPT generated. Yeah, it's starting to show. People are starting to realize. I'm just interested to see what is going to have an impact on YouTube, for example. Rivals, I see your hands up. You want to get into that?
I just want to add to that. Like in terms of, there is a difference between, people can see the difference between AI generated content and user generated content. But those lines are going to get blurred, very soon. Like the more content AI generates, the more prompts we give AI, the more we tell AI what is wrong with what we were given, and the more we fix it, the more AI is going to get closer to sort of how a user would generate their own content, right? The more smarter it's going to get. Like right now, we're at like the starting of AI, and there's already such big waves that are being made. In a few years on the line, in a decade, 2 decades, those lines are going to be, basically blurred. The average user might not be able to tell if a picture is from it. I mean, we can already see it now. Like, okay, in terms of text content, you can probably, you can see in terms of, what text is used that AI might use, right? So it looks like it's AI text. But in terms of images, there are some images out there which the average person doesn't know if it's AI or not. So it's going to be really hard in the next few decades and stuff, where the content people are going to consume is going to be really hard to tell if it was AI generated or not. So there's going to be a massive shift to also provenance, where each piece of media you consume will probably have a tag to it in terms of if it had AI, if it's AI generated, or if it had something to do with AI. I think that will be really helpful in people differentiating between AI content and user generated content. But even then, if the AI content is good enough and if it represents, it's close enough to what a user would put out, which I think that would be the case in the future, then the user won't really care what they're actually consuming, right? If it's good enough, then it's good, right?
Yeah. I wrote something a while ago where I said, if AI enables us to turn an idea into reality without the help of employees or other resources, or other liabilities, what becomes the most valuable in the process? The ID. So I definitely agree with the fact that once AI enables us to just, I don't know if you guys seen Sora, for example, incredible quality, videos and all these things that are considered content with an instant, then the people that are really going to stand out are the people that have the best IDs. Chaz, you want to get into that?
Yeah, well, even before we get into IDs, there's a really, really good point, which I think links back to what we were saying before about having this limitation around the story. Because my personal opinion, looking at kind of the way that content is going, is that if every AI model is so advanced that it can generate content that feels personal to you, yeah, absolutely right. Where is that differentiation? Because I'd argue it's actually not quite like YouTube, because YouTube, you were differentiated by yourself as a creator being able to make content that was unique. But obviously with AI, anybody can make content anywhere, right? So how do you then, what's that level of differentiation that you can bring with AI? And for me, I think that's the storytelling. I think in the future, the limitless possibilities of AI, and especially around gaming, if you imagine you can create a game, you can effectively walk into a world and a game would be essentially developed around you, that's tailored for you, and that will quickly become quite boring, because, if I have the perfect game, great, but, sometimes as humans, you don't even know, as I mentioned, you don't know what you want. You want to be kind of immersed in something new and something that's really, really, different and unique, and something you yourself wouldn't think to do. For example, I could never write Lord of the Rings. I wouldn't even know where to start. It's not, like that. The amount of imagination Tolkien had is just, it's just mind boggling. But being able to be brought into his world is where I gain the most value. So I think that actually it's going to be more about how you create narrative and story using AI, and that will be where you differentiate yourself in terms of gaming, and in terms of content as well, because that's what humans value most is storytelling. It's eons old, and it's kind of what makes us actually human in many ways. Not to get too philosophical about it, but that's I do think that's really the key. Yeah, it's a scary place, because let's not forget as well, people are going to be using AI to consume content too. So in the future, why would you watch a video? I'll just tell my AI to watch it for me and give me the bullets, give me the highlights. I can already do that if I take the script from a video, and people probably take a script from this from this Spaces and just condense it down into a few bullets. So if you think about it in that context as well, that becomes a scary place as well. So people doing games using an AI as an assistant in their game, where does that take you? That's something I don't think has really been discussed.
Yep. Yeah, it's the attention span of the human is going down, while the content creation possibilities or the entry barrier into content creation is also going down. And also, if you scroll through, I deleted my Instagram. The only social media that I have left is Twitter, and I'm not even spending too much time on here. But what I see when I hop on YouTube, or that's back in the days when I was still scroll on Instagram, I felt like the amount of craziness people had to put out there to even stand out, it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. So I'm not sure where we will stop there, actually. And I don't think anybody knows. We are now entering a phase where we can officially say, okay, we have no idea where this stuff ends. I didn't give the mic yet to the Tipsy Company. Tipsy Company joined us, redefining games at the Tipsy Company. Let's start off with a question. How are you guys implementing AI, or how are you guys planning to implement AI in your project? Or if you want to go in on our current discussion, would be also great.
Hey, Amir. Thank you for the introduction. Hey, everyone. Forever Tipsy here, founder and CEO of the Tipsy Company. Essentially, we are in Web3 gaming, so we have two mobile games. One is a location-based RPG, so think of Pokemon Go with more depth. And the other is intergalactic space warfare. So our approach is really onboarding a lot of Web3 users because we feel the Web3 gaming space is still a very small pie of the overall gaming sector. Right, so our games are kind of blockchain optional, very easy to use, free to play. You guys can check them out. But coming to your question, Amir, with regards to integrating AI, let's give an example with Skid of Abyss, right? So like I said, it's a bit like Pokemon Go. So you have NPCs in the game, you have monsters spawning. I think with regards to AI, it's more the amalgamation of data, more studying player behavior, and then being able to spawn monsters in certain areas, which may be more popular. It could even go the other way around, right? Where you got more players, you might want to make it exponentially harder for players to capture, stronger bosses, which in turn drop stronger rewards. With our space game, it's a bit of a FPS kind of style, but a bit of a flight sim concept integrated inside it as well. So you need to work on your reflexes. So things like being able to evade enemies, because there is a PvE element as well as PvP. So I think with regards to gaming, especially where PvE, player versus environment, is concerned, you have a lot of room to play around with NPCs, with enemy bosses, and with AI. So that's my take on it.
It's super interesting. Awesome.
I mean, it's obviously this bad image of AI. Now it's a tool, it's here, and suddenly everyone can create everything, and there's no differentiation. I hope that Chaz is right and human written scripts will be still recognizable in some way because there's some creativity that AI can't do. But I also think that AI can be the solution for this, and I hope someone will build a tool. It could be AgentX. For example, imagine there's a collection of AI models, and they are really good at detecting what was written by AI. And that's also a very cool use case for crypto, which is something that we at Oasis work at, because suddenly you can combine AI and something like a trusted execution environment where you can prove that a model ran on, for example, a deepfake image, and then you can check what was the results, what's the probability that these different AI models gave this image to be written by AI or created by AI. And then you can still do it privacy preserving because it's in this black box or secure enclave, as we call it, where you can even share images that are not yet public, but still have different AI models run on it to give you an assessment on if it is AI written or not. So AI doesn't have to be the bad guy. It can also be the solution.
Yeah, 100% agree. I don't think AI is the bad guy. I think AI is going to bring the only reason why humans are the boss on Earth is because we develop and we learn from mistakes and we get better. And AI is just the next step in evolution. We need it. We were eventually going to find out something that can do everything for us. And then the only question is, would people even care? If content is engaging, would people even care that it's AI created or not? Then maybe the solution would be that YouTube needs to label them. So you would have human and AI labeled before clicking on the video or something like that. Tipsy, hands up, tell me.
Yeah, Amir, I think, jumping back on that point, I think it's very important to be true to ourselves. Right, a lot of projects are integrating AI for the sake of it because it is like the new buzzword. It helps increase valuations, it helps increase the appeal, the general appeal to investors. But that should not be the reason for incorporating AI. You can't forcefully put it in. And I mean, talking about change of skill sets, right? I mean, yeah, sure, AI could be replacing stuff, but I look at it as AI amplifying experiences for players, and a new skill set will emerge, which is more to being able to prompt. Being able to program the AI technology so as to better the overall player experience.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I don't even think AI should start something new. AI should just power the ones that want to create. So for content creators, for gamers, for whatever, if you implement AI shouldn't make your product. It should make your product stronger, or it should 10x your product or make it easier to go from ID to reality. 100% agreed. Fardat, we didn't hear you yet. Do you have anything to add on what's been discussed so far?
I think everyone said it well in terms of the possibilities of AI. I think something that I can potentially add, and that's something within the kind of space of rhythmized specialization, is we help our business partners building virtual economies and AI kind of powered economies, right? So rather than talking about characters and environments that are dynamic and reflecting, let's say, to the players' kind of emotions and reactions, we actually create a real life economy within game that would allow transactions and exchange of like within game kind of assets, and then looking at balancing the demand and supply, like how an actual economy is actually running. And again, AI is super powerful to mimic kind of real life economy. Like this is something that we used to do before using kind of rather simpler model. If you may kind of recall old games, they simply just had a very kind of crackable, to say, kind of easy to crack kind of economy, where after a couple of rounds of playing the game, you probably would figure out how you can hack the system, like how you can game the system. But with the advent of AI, it has been pushed to probably next one, even next level of complication in the way that makes games even more real.
Yeah, super interesting. Personalizing, making this whole... I think the gaming experience is gonna 100x. For every gamer, for every person that's really into gaming, I think AI is very great. Besides the fact that obviously we're gonna get a lot of extra cheaters, that will also be tackled by AI again. But I feel like, yes, this whole gaming experience is gonna be great, and it's gonna be better, and it's gonna be more realistic, more unpredictable, what makes it more fun to engage with. I want to then round off with the next or last question. That is, obviously, gaming is the perfect space for people that don't even want to escape their own reality, but also connect with people that have the same interest as them. That's why you tap in, right? That's why you put on the headset or get into the Discord to connect. Besides how AI can 10x the gaming experience on the back end and on the tech side, where do you guys think that AI can be implemented on the community side to make that whole experience better? Waiting on the hands.
I think one of the main important places AI can be implemented on the community side is probably community support. So we have normally we have mods, right, who are sort of looking into supporting the community in terms of questions and stuff. But now we're seeing a lot of AI projects spawn which are focused around project support or community support. Like Paul, for example, they have a AI bot they integrate into the community chats, which helps people ask, and the bot to answer frequently asked questions or just questions which people can't find on the documentation immediately. Then we're having some projects which are creating voice AI, so you can like dial a number and you can find out something about something. So customer support, which is also pretty cool. I was looking at this video about, I think it was called Bland.ai, where you phone an AI and like the answering as well is like very, very quick. So it feels like a human, you're talking to a human, right? And the AI also like stutters as well. And there's like hums and stuff involved when they're talking. So I think on the community management side of things and the community support side of things, it will literally change the game, especially with things like even call centers. There's a lot of call centers which have a lot of people working at them, and if we integrate AI into it, which is a crazy good use case, but also it's scary to see a lot of people will potentially lose their jobs as well, because AI can automate literally everything, anything, right?
100%, yeah, true. AI is going to replace a lot of people. What you see with the past revolutions on tech side is it replaced a lot of people, and then after that a lot of new jobs opened because of it, right? With AI, we're still seeing if that's going to be the case, if AI is even going to replace but then start or open more job offers. Who has anything to add on that community side? I'm sure Rivals or Tipsy. I'm not sure who spoke before because I can't see it on my screen. I'm getting rocked all the time. But I'm sure the ones that are really building the communities have a great insight in this. Crypto hunters, what do you guys think?
Yeah, we'll jump in here. I think, community is everything, right? For any kind of project, you build out there, whether it's gaming related, or whether it's AI related. And like you said, AI shouldn't just be the sort product, right? It's there to amplify something, that already traditionally exists. And I'll speak, from the perspective of a gaming company because that's what we're building out here, a full-fledged gaming ecosystem. When you talk about gaming, you talk about community, especially when you talk about Web3 gaming, a lot of projects unfortunately still lack a product, which is the game, right? They throw around all these fancy blockchain jargon, but if you ask them for core gameplay, you ask them for MVPs, you ask them for game guides, like game wikis and so on, it does not exist. And this is a fundamental issue because you need a starting point for the community. If players are all completely clueless, then there is kind of nobody else to hold the hand of newbies, who kind of join the Discord or Discord largely for gamers. So that's my take on community.
Yeah, interesting. I also got someone that, and I think this is great. You guys should tell me if this is true or not. But because all these community members are all over the place and they are from every country and not everyone speaks the same language. So there's a language barrier. I think one of the next tools that we at AgentX should work on is a tool that immediately translates the language to preferred language in the chat so that someone from China can communicate with someone from Mexico if they play the same game and it all goes seamless. What do you guys think? Would there be any need from that?
Yeah, I think that's a great take, Amir. I think localization for any product is very important, even for games, right? Because especially the community being a core aspect of this ecosystem is so important. But I think when you talk about Web3 gaming, a project needs to have sufficient resources, and this is my take on it. Because with Web3, you have a lot of scams. You have people trying to disguise, links, trying to disguise information, whether it's airdrops, but could be scams, right? And you need community managers who are proficient in the language, to be able to keep an eye, to be able to keep a watch on. Otherwise, you just have people falling victims to it. So I think once your community grows to a certain size, and it is a bit of a chicken and egg game, right? Because if you don't have the first, 100 members who can, for example, speak Portuguese, then how are you going to have a Portuguese community of 10,000 people if you can't even cultivate the first 100 people? So I think it's a bit of a chicken and egg game, I think projects have to kind of always go back and look at the fundamentals, look at the resources, where they're able to manage it, where they have a loyal following, a trusted group of individuals who can always keep a lookout, especially in Web3 because of the nature, of the blockchain and because assets are so irrecoverable, right? I mean, because of thefts and scams, there's nobody who can really intervene.
Super interesting take. Does anyone else has anything to add here?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, when we talk about community, because thinking about where, obviously this is specifically talking about Web3 gaming and AI. And for that reason, I think there's an opportunity to utilize the sort of democracy that Web3 brings, the decentralization of the governance of a game, right? There's an opportunity for the community to help, in effect, govern the story, right? So we talked about the importance of narrative, the importance of story. I think there's actually a really, really strong opportunity around the community being in a position to have greater power than ever before to help sort of dictate how the game should be, how the narrative of the game works, maybe some of the extra elements of the game, because they can utilize AI in different ways. They can create their own characters, for example, create their own storylines. So imagine a situation where, going back to, you name it, your favorite game, but Final Fantasy. What if I could create a storyline in Final Fantasy, like a crowdsourced storyline based on AI, and I could plug that into the game? How cool would that be, right? Because actually all the tools are there, and obviously the game engine's been designed, the characters and the the whole world and everything around it, the weapons, everything else has been designed. All I need to do is plug in some prompts and create, my own sort of storyline or whatever it might be. And actually that becomes really powerful. And the community can decide whether or not that particular, crowdsourced, gaming element gets implemented or not. And then you have a truly kind of crowdsourced, Web3 game, right? That's ultimately one of the greatest reasons that we love Web3 is that ability to put the power back into the hands of the community, and what greater way than having them actually help create their own storylines.
Beautiful. I think the main conclusion of this segment was AI is great and it's going to do a lot, but at the end of the day, it's the user, it's the people, it's the community that always will be needed. The storyline, like Chas Stanton said, the storytelling that AI would never or can never replace, the power of the community. I had an amazing time. It was a 60-minute space, and we're to the end right now, and I would like to close it off by first giving a big shout out to every speaker that took the time to hop on the space. I came to some interesting conclusions and I had a lot of fun. I hope the audience too, so give us some emojis if you agree. I would love to invite you guys back to a next segment or a next space where we can sit down and talk about more interesting things. So it was a pleasure. Thanks a lot. We are AgentX, not just a project, but an ecosystem of AI solutions that would try to expand their reach to everything in Web3. We are here to simplify the whole experience for both builder and user. I loved it. Any closing words from the speakers?
Just a big thank you to you guys.
Thank you very
for organizing.
much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
The only time I like it when people speak at the same time is when we're doing closing words. All right, guys. It was a big shout out to everyone that showed up. See you guys again next week, same time, same space, different speakers, maybe the same, different subjects. See you guys at the next one.